yes. Nag Champa from me to you. It's going to be a very smoky session. Woo! Put a shirt on, he says. My lovely fellow human beings, my brothers and sisters in solidarity, my soul companions in this earthly existence, hello! MXGDML here one more time to discuss with you how I am going through YEMENI Mother hashtag TAXESFUNDWAR. Peace, love, harmony, beauty, namaste to you. You know, there is a little backstory behind these hand symbols, and I'll tell you that at another time. However, they do have meaning, and I do weird things. I'll tell you one small confession. When I'm hiking Griffith Park and I'm walking, and then I spit, every time that's on the ground, I say my prayer to it, and then I upturn my hand, hoping that whatever seed may be buried underneath that dirt grows because my saliva was on it, and a little bit of me is now left in the park, so I say a prayer with it every step. Okay, so today I want to dive back into The Coming Insurrection by the Invisible Committee. This book's wonderful. There's a section in here organizing self-defense. We're gonna talk about that today in various ways. It starts with the words, "We live under an occupation, under police occupation. Undocumented immigrants are rounded up in the middle of the street. Unmarked police cars patrol the boulevards. Metropolitan districts are pacified with techniques forged in the colonies. The Minister of the Interior makes declarations of war on gangs, quote unquote, that remind us of the Algerian War. We are reminded of it every day." And let me remind you again, this is based in French culture, but still applicable. "There are reasons enough to no longer let ourselves be beaten down, reasons enough to organize our self-defense. To the extent that it grows and radiates, a commune begins to see the operations of power target that which constitutes it. These counterattacks take the form of seduction, of recuperation, and at a last resort, brute force. For a commune, self-defense must be a collective fact, as much practical as theoretical. Preventing an arrest, gathering quickly and in large numbers against eviction attempts, and sheltering one of our own will not be superfluous reflexes in coming times. We cannot ceaselessly reconstruct our bases from scratch. Let's stop denouncing repression and instead prepare to confront it." Ooh. That's so French yet again, but I love how denouncing the repression isn't necessarily the best course of action. Confronting it and organizing your self-defense and making sure you're not reflexing and reacting and recuperating from scratch every time after you've been beaten down seems to be the way that you can move an agenda, an organization, an ideal, a theory forward. And I'm definitely in favor of protests, and I support the weekend warriors who are there Saturdays and Sundays, downtown LA or downtown Washington, DC, even up to Seattle, who have divested so far from big banks and big oil. These are tactics and steps taken in an art of war fashion, in a committee-type commune mindset where we understand defense and offense and what we bring to the table. So today, it's a special day, like every other, to be alive, but to be able to speak your truth and to announce your opinion in a manner that is constructive. Let's see what I'm talking about. Yes, back again. Today is the 15th. The tax march in Los Angeles is happening. I thought it would be too good to not go and see what I can get into. Demanding the 45th releases tax returns. I have so much editing to do. I don't know if I'll stay, but we gotta at least see what's happening. Let's go check it out. Well, it's like I would expect any protest downtown. Wall-to-wall traffic, streets closed, People on the sidewalks, a bunch of people trying to park, a whole bunch of progressive idealists showing face on the weekend when they're not 9-to-5ing, when they're not, you know, sheeple working for the man. It's a difficult life, but this is the one time that we can try to get out there. I'm not really sure how much boots to the ground action I can get into. There's too many people parking and driving, and I, again, still have to go edit. So I'm just gonna film what I can.
I can head down that way.
Taxes fund war! Taxes fund war! Taxes fund war! Taxes fund war! Yeah, but discretionary budget is half going to war. All right. Yeah, after circling a few times around the block, I realized that's just too much of a cluster to actually park. And by the time I get there, who knows if the march will have begun to City Hall, if they're even gonna still march to City Hall. Solidarity. One thing I do have to mention though is the fact that these people show up weekend after weekend for these protests, and they go to Pershing Square maybe once a week, maybe once a month, depending on their schedule. The people who call Pershing Square home, the houseless, are still there on the weekends, still living the injustice, still trying to wrap their head around their situation and why they are in such a predicament. And my guess is they're wondering, why are these people coming down once a week and still ignoring us? If they have such conviction in protesting and saying we need to organize and get together and, you know, power to the people, solidarity, it seems like a weird irony for some of the weekend protesters to still refuse to give money to the homeless that are sitting around Pershing Square or in City Hall or on the streets in between. Now, I have done some of the marches, and I have not given money to the people in the street because I have been holding a sign or so involved in the chants that I don't have an opportunity. Maybe I haven't taken my wallet because it would weigh me down in my backpack into something, I don't know. There are different reasons and there are different excuses to some of it. So I can't blame you, weekend ralliers, for doing what you're doing, considering that you're still there and I have to go back and keep working and editing. But what a weird scenario it is to be right next to somebody that is so disenfranchised when you're talking about the disenfranchisement of your people and of your country and your countrymen. They're right next to you. They're right next to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a new form of protest, something something you might not have seen before, but that I am willing to risk because number 45 has refused to disclose his taxes. I'm gonna show you that I refuse to take what I get in taxes owed to me and do with it what most people would do. Instead, today, I present to you, since I filed my taxes early, the tax refund. Yes, it's official. That is from the United States Treasury. My refund came early. It is here. Do you know what I'm gonna do with this today? Do you know what I'm gonna do to show that I do not support that my taxes go to war and that I don't want this going into the wrong hands? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I think of taxes going to war. This is the form of protest that I choose, and I say that you can just my choice, my money, my opinion, my conviction, my action, my country. I will do with it what I will. People before profit. All right, people, don't get your pants all in a bunch. That was a already deposited check from my early filings. The tax refund has been put into my federal credit union account, and I didn't actually destroy that money because that would be silly. Of course I wouldn't destroy money that I can actively reinvest as a form of tax resistance, as redirection, investing monies in programs for social change and for peacemaking. I'm going to do that. I will keep you up to date as I find avenues to put these monies, yes, these monies, already deposited monies, into another system that will benefit others. It won't just benefit me, it will benefit as many people as possible. And we're back! Ooh, I'm so glad I did that. It feels so liberating. And I'm so independent because of it. Take back the power! Aho! Water is life, mini wachoni. That will always work in every situation. Protest, solidarity, stand up for what you believe and say it out loud, and then do it if it's actionable. Okay, let's conclude this wonderfully freeing episode with another segment from the indispensable Chomsky. It is about levels of change. The question is, as we work to build up that kind of movement, what do you think are the best methods we should be using as pressure tactics right now? Should we be doing traditional reformist kind of steps, lobbying, legislations, writing letters, trying to get Democrats into office, or should we go with a more kind of direct action approach, demonstrations, civil disobedience, and so on? The response, 3 paragraphs. Well, those are tactical decisions you have to make. The only people qualified to make that kind of decision are the ones who live in a place and can see what's going on. So really, it would be ridiculous for me to have an opinion on it. Demonstrations are often the right thing to do. You just have to make tactical decisions. But keep in mind, they're just as reformist as lobbying your legislators. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, even if you're the most extreme revolutionary in the world, you're going to use whatever methods are available to try to ameliorate things. And then, if ultimately you run into limits where powerful institutions will not permit more reform, well, then you go beyond it. But first, you have to reach those limits. And there are many ways of reaching them. One way is lobbying your legislators. One may be another political party. Others are demonstrations, which simply change the conditions under which powerful people make decisions. But that does have an effect. So yes, demonstrations and resistance can have effects, but they are no more revolutionary than talking to your legislator. They don't have effect power. They don't change the institutions of power. They just change the decisions that will be made within those institutions. And that's a fine thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It helps a lot of people. I mean, I don't think the institutions of power should exist either, but that's another question right now. Ooh, Noam Chomsky, you are agreeing with us that you don't think the institution should be there in place of the system actually crumbling and people on either side of the age or political spectrum wanting to see it collapse. We do take the time to hopefully talk to our legislators and right people in power because yes, we have to function within the systems. Try, at least. Once we know the best way to pull the stick from underneath that house of cards or the plug on the machine of the institution, then we will demonstrate. Then we will take to the streets. Then we will do what we can, person to person, door to door, call to call, eye to eye, heart to heart. That's going to be what counts. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Peace, love, harmony, beauty, namaste to you. These are trying times. Are you trying?